Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Construction Complete, the show where we talk about Mario Maker 1 and 2. And we are continuing on today with my series based on called Super Mario Bros. 3 Remix, based on the original game, where I'm trying to recreate levels inspired by, based on, you know, similarities, not similarities, of those original levels. And basically in this show I'd like to show what I've done, talk about the original level, the inspiration, what I've got going on here. Usually play through the level, stop, talk about it, critique it, play through again at the end. During this beginning and with the end, you will see the course code on screen, so that you can go away and have a look and play this level for yourself if you want to, as well as feel free to leave feedback either on there or on this video once you've seen it. Just bear in mind, like I said, a lot of my levels, I think, maybe come across a little bit simplistic, but they are based on levels of the original game, and I have no problem with that. So, what do we have here? We have Free-Castle 1, specifically. So there are two castles in Waterland in the original game. So this is the first of two. So let's play for it, and go from there. Now this is very much based off that original level. If you don't remember the level, it is a level where you have a bunch of doors. I haven't used doors in this time. I've used pipes, and the pipes take you. You have to find the right pipe to take you to the right area. That's what you're trying to do. So it's a bit of a puzzle level. It is fairly straightforward. Just involves counting. So you can see that the pipes are stuck in the ceiling. And on the level, it's pretty much, there's only 3 enemies. Oh, that shouldn't be that way, but never mind. That should be a fire flower. But essentially, there's only Dry Bones, Thwomps, and our friend the Boo. So there's a little trick to this level which kind of ruins it, which I will tell people. But this here represents differences. So if you go down this pipe here like this, this is like a secret room. So it's very much like the original. In that level you had doors, and then the very last door gave you like a one room, one gave you a 1-up, stuff like that. But if I go down this pipe here, this will take me to the second lot of rooms. Like, oops, I've gone the wrong way. Oh well, that's okay. Let's fall in the lava and kill ourselves. Let's try that again, shall we?
Here we go.
Let me get a mushroom and then we'll go from there. But the whole, if you know the original level, you can see the concept is the same idea, that you go through doors, you have to try and figure out which door is which. It's always the same, unfortunately, so you only really have to remember once. And in this case, it's very easy where the pipe is, but that's okay. But I've tried to make it interesting. I've tried to place a lot of enemies. I've tried to add a lot of rooms. These weird slopes here, which are always fun. And clearly the right way to go is through this door at the end here. Surprise? No, it's not. Which was the point of this, was to have this room, which is pretty much based off that one room in the original level. Where you actually need to go is clearly there, is down this pipe here. And this takes you to Boom Boom. And I've realised with this as well, like, jumping on Boom Boom is actually a bit harder than I remember it being. Because in this game he has a little bit more iframes going on, it seems. Anyway, the level itself, for me, is obviously quite simple. I know the design of the puzzle, but what I actually enjoyed about making this level is the idea of how, when a player first picks this up and they figure out, if they run through everything and get to that door, they go through that door and they realise, wait a minute, this isn't the right way to go, and then suddenly there's a bunch of pipes. There is a chance to find the pipe right away, but what we have here is it's very much based on that concept. Now there are rotary discs in the original level, but I don't know if they are even in the game yet. I don't think they ever came to this game when I did this level. I still don't think they're in the game now. But the idea is that you have obstacles being the thwomps between each pipe, generally speaking. You go down the pipes, and the pipes take you to one of 2 areas, essentially, or one of 3 areas. And then you have to make your way out and find out which pipe does what. Now, obviously back then, the doors, what they would do is they would drop you into the water, and you'd have to swim to the end. But whereas door number 5, I think it is, or 5 or 6, would take you to Boom Boom. In this, it's pretty much, here's a bonus room, and over here, by the end of the level, is the pipe. You want to see a bit of a void space. But essentially, that door takes you there, gets you some coins, nothing hidden in there. It's fairly straightforward. You're just trying to avoid enemies. And then if we go to floor number 2, you can see down here. Zoom out. So this red pipe, well, this area here takes you back to the first area of where you come down. So that's the first 3 or 4 pipes. 4 pipes. Then pipe 5 leads you to this secret area, essentially. And then 6 drops you into there, and then 7 drops you into Boom Boom. And that's kind of how the level's set up. It's nothing too complex, honestly. It's very much puzzle-ish style level. Not the sort of level I normally make or enjoy making. I like quite straightforward challenges. But again, it has its gimmick, and that's the thing about Super Mario Bros. 3. There are a lot of levels that are known for their gimmicks. This gimmick of the original was figure out which door you got to go through. In this case, it's find the right pipe. Now, I could have been evil and changed it up so that the pipe order was different, and maybe had like a pipe that was here instead be the one you need to go down, or this one. But the reason I stuck it at the end, it's this one here, is because I was like, well, maybe people are going to actually try the pipes first before they find it. Certain players will try most of those things. A lot of people probably went down the red pipe. I wouldn't be surprised if they went down that one. Realised, wait a minute, where am I? Come back up it. Figured out the gimmick. Because as long as you can count, you're fine. But essentially, what I do with all my levels is, like, every time I make a level, first thing I always do is, I don't want the player to run straight headfirst into danger. Look how much time the player has before this dry bones even gets close. And if we're lucky, he's just going to walk off the screen. So I want the player to, when they start, they go, right, yep, I can see the ground's looking a bit weird. But they can see the dry bones. So to start with, all I'm trying to do, allow the player some room, deal with the dry bones. Oh, there's another dry bones and a pipe. And then there's another pipe. Now, whether the player chooses to go down these, I bring in another element being a thwomp. And there's more pipes. Another thwomp. And then more dry bones. And it kind of, as the level goes on, it looks very similar. And that's the thing I've tried to do, is make the level look, changes little in terms of ground. So what I'm doing is, the reason I've set these up here is I want the player to understand that, like, these are usable because you can smack out the dry bones with them, I believe. Let's find out, actually.
Here we go.
Oh, whoops. Go walking. I don't think you can do it to a thwomp. You might be able to. But you can take the dry bones out, right? So there you go. I've given a player like a bit of a secret weapon, but the elevation for this is more to do with I'm trying to show off repetition and pattern, so that when we get here, we get pipe, ramp, pipe, ramp, pipe, pipe, ramp, ramp, and then we're on a higher level. And throughout the entirety, I've got ramps everywhere. Now, originally they're just aesthetic choice. That's kind of what they were for, but making the level look very similar can be confusing to the player. Now, I'm not trying to make the level impossibly difficult. All I'm trying to do is make the level look very similar. Like, wherever the player goes, there's a lot of pipes, a lot of the same looking land, Oh, maybe I'm going the right way. Things look a bit different. Oh, there's a boo there now. There's 2 thwomps and a boo. Maybe this is the right way. Pipe, 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 pipe. Ramps, 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 and even down the bottom. Like, the bottom part is now got the ability for you to fall into lava. Up here, you can't fall into the lava at all. Like, I didn't even think of that as a obstacle. I was like, no, I want people to focus on the fact that there are multiple pipes, there are enemies, figure out the way you need to go. But down, when we go downstairs into the basement, what we have is different obstacles. Yes, you've still got the similar layout with the ramps, which you can use to take out the dry bones. You've got the boos, but now we've got holes. There's no thwomps down here. We've got lava. What else have we got? We've got a bridge over lava. Alright. Still with the ramps, like there's an aesthetic that I was going for to try and make it feel like this like creepy fortress essentially. And yeah, there's that level of like, hey, I've put pits down here instead of the thwomps. So the upper level is all thwomps. The bottom level, yeah, it has your mushrooms, has your fire flowers, has your probably coins, coins as well. You've got your secret room. All that stuff is on the lower level, even if it's the wrong way to go. But you've got more power-ups. Whereas the upper level, it's all about the enemy placement. It's all about the room design. There is no power-ups up there. And the reason the power-up is here, the first one, really, is because I knew that most people are either going to go down the red pipe and run this way, hit the wall and come back, or they're going to go down this pipe up here. Maybe neither. Maybe they're not going to do either. But I imagine a lot of players did. And so we get that. I'm like, right, okay, I don't need to worry about the top floor because there's not much danger to start with. When you think about it, where you start this level, you have 2 dry bones and there's nothing else that's really a danger to you. You know, you can still walk into these things. They are obviously a hazard, but there's no immediate danger for the player. This dry bones ain't going to kill you very quickly. You've got time to think, and I like that. In a level that's based on like a puzzle level, plenty of time to think. Thwomps, easy enemy to avoid. Wait for it to fall. There's tons of space there. Like obviously it comes down, but you've got plenty of time to run through that. You can walk through it if you want. So a lot of slow enemies. That difficulty, I'm setting up. I'm doing what Nintendo does a very good job of. I'm setting up a gimmick and then increasing that gimmick. So like at the beginning we have 2 dry bones, quite far apart, but you know, dry bones. Then we have 2 thwomps. Again, they're not next to each other. It's nothing overly difficult. You wait for the thwomp to come down. You know, you jump over it if you want. Then 2 dry bones that are closer together. And then the similar thing with the 2 thwomps, but the difference here is they are now closer together with the dry bones. So the level's gradually getting harder, but you've seen all of these gimmicks before. Nothing I've added later on here is any different to what you've had here. It's like, oh, there's a dry bones. Oh, there's another one. Alright, cool. And now we have a thwomp, which I could probably jump over. You can, if you're quick enough, go underneath him. You can wait. And then we come across 2 more dry bones. You're like, alright, yeah. And then this is probably the hardest part. There's a boo in there, but as long as you're facing the right way, not an issue. And then after that, dry bones, and a boo. Right? So there's nothing there that's... The repetition is there, the increasingly more difficult. By having the 2 thwomps here, what this does is it's like, okay, yes, I need to be aware of essentially a trap, because that's how they work, right? So you know, when you get close, they fall down, you know they're there. Whereas this section is like, okay, so you know how these are going to work, but what if I decrease the amount of space that you have to work and add in a boo? Now, boos can be quite stressful, but the good thing about this is if I put myself here,
we go.
like, I can just turn around. Like, I'm not going to fall off this ramp. This thwomp can keep going up and down, but the boo's never going to get me. It looks more scary to a beginner player than it actually is. At no point have I tried to make anything like, you must react really quickly. This level, you can walk through the entirety of this level.
Here we go.
And jump, obviously. But, like, if I'm just walking, I've got so much time to, you know, I can stop here, wait for the thwomp. You know, I will gain speed by walking off a ramp. If you ever needed that, walk off a ramp, you gain some speed. Jump over these guys. And even here, the boo's already in front of me. If I stand like this, he's going to come down, but he's eventually going to stop. Like, he's in such an interesting placement. No issue. So that's the top route in a nutshell. That's kind of what I'm going for there. Is very much a... Looks scarier than it is. A lot of repetition. And trying to get the level to look very similar. So the player's kind of unsure whether they are. If, you know, maybe it's wrapping around, which I know you can't do, but... In some of the old levels, back in the old Mario games, they did have levels that would wrap. So if we go and look at the downstairs section now, like I said, it's a different vibe, because we're not.
Here we go.
I didn't mean to do that. Let's just go down the red pipe. So you're in. This time you're greeted with a block, which there are no blocks upstairs. Oh look, a mushroom. There's a dry bones, there's a boo. You know, apart from the fact that now we have pits, right? So I need to be careful. There's like ramps and pits and things. Oops. But you can see it's a different kind of difficulty going on down here. Oh, wait. I can't get up there. You know, this is the idea of trying to make the player realise, oh, there's pipes that are poking through. You can see that the pipes up here are meant to represent the pipes that are upstairs. You know, and I like that, like trying to build a sort of puzzle level around that. But as you can see, there is a different feel down here. We've got blocks, very fast open spaces, allowing the player to kind of run back and forth quickly. I'm not trying to waste the player's time when it comes to movement. Only if they pick the wrong pipe, do they get dropped in one of these areas, they need to run back through it. Back to the red one. So that's why it's very open. There are dry bones down here and a couple of boos. The boos are very superficial. The boos are placed in places that they're not going to really get in the way. That one there especially. This one is so high up. If I grab this one and like put him here, that's a lot more to deal with, right? Because he's already so much lower. If I turn around, this is how fast boos move. Not particularly quick. Right? So you have got plenty of time. If I put the boo here and do this, like, now I've got to deal with the dry bones and the boo, and there's a block there. Like, it's not meant to be. This area is meant to be a fast area, so you can get back and go back to the top and try again. Find the right pipe. Obviously, this section here, this is just an extra section. There's coins here, mushrooms, all that sort of stuff. Meant to just be an extra place. If you find it, you're like, woo, like extra points. And then this bottom bit here is just a slightly harder version of what came before, right?
Here we go.
There's more gaps. Now this boo's probably more of a difficult customer, because when you're jumping from there, you got to be careful. You don't want to jump into the lava. But yeah, other than that, like this downstairs section is meant to be a fast section. And then lastly, boom boom. So that is the level really in a nutshell. It's a top and bottom level, with the bottom meant to be the fast section with some challenge, but mostly for speed. And the top section is meant to be about repetition and trying to get the player to understand, like, you know, you introduce a concept of these thwomps. Now you've got to deal with a few more. There's only 4 thwomps anyway. And I've got boos, you've got the dry bones getting ever closer together. Obviously the pipe gimmick. And quite frankly, I actually really enjoyed making this level. This is one of the ones obviously I know where the exit is, so I can go straight there. But if I give this to someone who's not played it, I get to enjoy that idea that they've got to figure out where to go. And I have done that in the past. Like the original castle it's based on, with all the different doors. Once you know which door you've got to go in, you just count and you always get the boom boom. It's simple as that. But if you actually explore that level and look at that level and how it's crafted, it's a fun concept. Again, gimmick is not a bad word, right? I like the idea of levels being quite gimmicky because that's what makes them memorable. There are so many levels, like the tank level, the boat, the airship levels, the pyramid level, the sun level. You know, there's so many levels in Super Mario Bros. 3 that are known for these specific gimmicks. And same with this one. This is a castle fortress on World 3 that is quite memorable because it has a very specific look to it, and it's all about dealing with dry bones, boos, thwomps in the original. It's kind of what I've tried to emulate here. So, obviously there are things that I can improve about this level, right? For sure. There's not a lot going on. It is a very simplistic looking level. By design, but, you know, if we just scroll along, there's nothing. I mean, at the top there's like no coins, nothing. So that's what makes this interesting. There's no blocks, no coins. Whereas, like I said in the past, using blocks and coins to slow the player down is really important. Whereas here, I'm not trying. This is a much faster level, because if someone's going to try every single pipe or figure out, you know, try most of them, I don't want to put too many obstacles at the top. I want the top to be that, like, okay, let's get past the dry bones, let's get past the thwomps. Check out this pipe, you know, and then once they realise the bottom is a much faster layer, grab the power-ups, come back up, let's go find the end. And so there's nothing super difficult about it. But I like the idea that, you know, you could flatten the land, you could put down fake pipes, you could do more with doors. I mean, I could make a massive level because I've got this entire playing field up here. So if I really wanted to, I could add more pipes in. I think there's a limit of how many you can do. But I could add doors in. Like, I could do tons of stuff. but I don't want to complicate the level. Like this, if I was going to make a more difficult version of this, then yes, maybe I would use pipes and doors and have all kinds of segmented little rooms and stuff, and that would be kind of fun to do something like that. But as it stands, I don't think there's much wrong with what I've designed here. It's meant to be a fast level in the way it's designed. You don't want to slow the player down too much. You just want the player to try and find the exit within the 300 seconds. So, yeah, maybe you could add a few more dry bones. I wouldn't have added any more thwomps. Maybe the downstairs areas I can make a little bit more harder. Maybe pits. Maybe 1 or 2 more boos. Nothing too crazy. And it's actually one of the levels I'm most happy with I've designed. I think it just, concept-wise, it works. Unfortunately, with any good puzzle level, once you know the answer, it becomes super easy. That's the risk you can take, but that's kind of part of the joy of it. So let's play through this one last time. I am actually going to grab the... mushroom, at least. I'll probably lose it, but we will grab it. One pipe. 2, 3... So I know that this one was the one to the right. Yeah, so I know that this one's got like power-ups in it. I want the fire flower. Makes Boom Boom a lot easier. Well, hopefully you can see what I'm trying to say when it comes to like the concept of doing a level like this. It doesn't need to be ridiculously hard when you're trying to waste the player's time by... Like, I'm trying to make the player waste time by going up and down the pipes. I don't need there to be much more obstacles. It's like on an auto-scroller, like, you want to make the player jump a lot on a moving platform. Put things that are going to make them jump a lot. You know, if you're already on an auto-scroller, you might not want to make it too difficult because they're already wasting their time on the fact that they're moving as fast or slow as the level will go. But yeah, I definitely very much enjoyed making this level. Hopefully you guys enjoyed seeing it, and you know, if you have your own concept, definitely expand on it, because I think you could do some really wild stuff. But yeah, that will do it for me when it comes to this level. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Like I said at the beginning of the video, the level code will be up at the end of this and during the start of it, so you yourself can go and play it and offer feedback if you'd like. And also, you know, download it, have a look at it, see how it's made, if you want. But yeah, thank you very much for watching this as always. Hopefully you're enjoying seeing a few more of these to mix up the regular content again. If you like the video, hit like. If you want to see more content, hit subscribe. Keep up to date with everything that goes live on this channel. Links for Facebook and Twitter will be down below in the description as always. And until next video, I will see you then.